Power has never been loud. It has never rushed into a room announcing itself. It has never begged to be seen. It has never needed permission. Power arrives quietly and waits. The loudest person in the room is almost never the one in control. Noise is not dominance. Reaction is not strength. Emotion is not authority. Those are substitutes, and substitutes are what people use when they lack the real thing. Most people don't realize this until it's too late, but the moment you react emotionally, something outside of you has already taken the wheel. And once something outside of you can move you, you are no longer in command. This is why calm people control the room, not because they demand attention, but because nothing in the room can command them. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people never face. If someone can disturb your emotions, they can disturb your direction. If they can disturb your direction, they can interfere with your destiny. Emotion is not weakness. Unmastered emotion is. And the world knows this. That's why pressure exists. That's why provocation exists. That's why disrespect, urgency, chaos, and noise exist. They are tests, not of intelligence, not of talent, but of self-command. And most people fail these tests daily without realizing they were being tested at all. Watch carefully the next time tension enters a room. The untrained spirit reacts immediately. It fills the silence with explanations. It raises its voice. It moves first. It leaks energy. But the calm one does something different. They pause, and in that pause, the balance of power begins to shift, because the first person to react is always the first person to reveal themselves. Reaction exposes priorities. Reaction exposes fear. Reaction exposes where you can be pulled. Calm exposes nothing. Silence makes people uncomfortable for a reason. Silence removes distractions. Silence removes masks. Silence removes escape routes. When there is no noise to hide behind, people are forced to confront themselves. That's why most people rush to speak. They're not communicating, they're relieving pressure. The calm one does not relieve pressure. They let it build. And pressure does something fascinating. It reveals. Under pressure, people over-explain. They justify. They confess. They show their hand. The calm one watches, and the room begins to adjust around them. This is where people get it wrong. They think calm is passive. They think calm is soft. They think calm means you don't care. That misunderstanding is their weakness. Calm is not the absence of intensity. Calm is contained intensity. It is force held under control. A blade in a sheath is more dangerous than one being swung wildly. The calm person is not empty. They are sealed. Nothing leaks, nothing spills. Nothing reacts without permission. That's why their presence feels heavy. There is a spiritual reason calm carries weight. Everything in life responds to energy, not words, not appearances, energy, and chaotic energy repels alignment, but grounded energy pulls everything toward it. This is ancient knowledge. This is why monks speak softly, why warriors breathe slowly, why leaders pause before they answer. Stillness is not accidental, it is cultivated, and cultivation requires discipline. Here's another truth most people don't like hearing. Every emotional reaction is an agreement to be led, an agreement to be moved, an agreement to surrender command, even if only for a moment. Anger is an agreement. Defensiveness is an agreement. Urgency is an agreement. Each one says, "You have permission to move me." The calm one never signs that contract, and because they don't agree, the world must adjust. Think about it. If someone can make you angry on demand, they can redirect your focus. If they can redirect your focus, they can redirect your energy. If they can redirect your energy, they can alter outcomes. That's not philosophy, that's mechanics. This is why calm people feel untouchable, not because nothing affects them, but because nothing controls them. Most people live externally. They wait for the world to tell them how to feel. They allow circumstances to set their emotional temperature. They move when moved. That is not living, that is responding, and responders never lead rooms. Calm people live internally. They decide their state before the world makes its move. They are centered before pressure arrives. They are anchored, and anchors do not drift when storms pass through. They hold everything else in place. There is a moment, and if you haven't experienced it yet, you will, when you realize reacting is exhausting, explaining drains you, proving drains you, defending drains you. Because every reaction pulls energy outward, calm pulls energy inward, and inward energy compounds. This is why silence feels powerful, not mystical silence, not awkward silence, but intentional silence. Silence chosen, not forced. It tells the room, I am not rushed, I am not threatened, I am not unsure. Even if you say nothing, everything is communicated. Here's the part nobody tells you. Calm is not natural. It is trained. Your nervous system is not designed for restraint by default. It is designed for survival, which means reaction is easy. Calm is work. Calm requires repetition. Calm requires failure. Calm requires choosing stillness when reaction would feel justified. Every time you don't react, something strengthens inside you. A muscle most people never train. Self-command. That's why people feel it without understanding it. They don't know why they listen. They don't know why they pause when you pause. They don't know why your silence makes them speak. They just feel it. There is also a darker truth here. Calm people are difficult to manipulate. You can't rush them. You can't bait them. You can't guilt them into movement, which means systems that rely on emotional leverage don't work on them. That alone makes them dangerous. This is why the world rewards reactivity. Outrage sells. Urgency sells. Noise sells. Calm does not sell. Calm commands. And command is always rare. When you enter a room calm, something subtle happens. People begin to mirror you or oppose you. Both reveal themselves. Those who mirror respect your center. Those who oppose feel threatened by it. Either way, information surfaces. And information is power. There is a shift that happens when calm becomes your default. You stop chasing respect. You stop correcting perceptions. You stop forcing outcomes. And strangely, respect begins to circle you, because certainty doesn't need defense. Eventually, you reach a point where provocation no longer excites you. Disrespect no longer triggers explanation. Urgency no longer creates panic. You see everything as data, and data has no emotional charge. This is the moment you cross an invisible line. On one side of the line, you are manageable, predictable, responsive. On the other side, you are not easily moved, and what cannot be moved must be considered. Calm people are not fearless. They feel everything, but they decide what deserves expression. They decide what deserves energy. They decide when to move, and decision is sovereignty. There is an old idea that power corrupts. That's incomplete. Unconscious power corrupts. Calm power clarifies, because calm power comes from alignment, not ego. Here's how you know you're developing it. You pause longer before speaking. You feel less urgency to explain. You observe more than you react. You choose stillness even when provoked. And most importantly, you feel less controlled by external events. The room notices, not consciously, but instinctively. Humans are wired to detect stability, and they gravitate toward it. Eventually, something changes. You walk into a room, and instead of scanning for validation, you stand rooted. You listen without rushing. You speak without excess. You move only when necessary. And the room begins to orient itself around you, not because you demanded it, but because stability attracts alignment. This is why calm people control the room, not through dominance, not through intimidation, not through volume, but through immovability. There is nothing more unsettling to chaos than something it cannot disturb. There is nothing more commanding than a presence that does not need to react. So train this, not for appearances, not for performance, but for sovereignty. Practice not reacting. Practice pausing. Practice letting silence work for you. Because the moment nothing outside you can move you, you are no longer negotiating with the world. The world begins negotiating with you, not because it looks powerful, but because it is, and the room will follow, whether it understands why or not.